Hi, bears. We can't be together in the library right now, but we can be together at home with Miss Lane. Bears, I hope you are enjoying some days full of wonder. When we were in the library together, we talked about how being a scientist means asking lots of questions and looking for those answers. That's what I mean when I say I hope you are spending your days full of wonder. I know I have been. Even when I was a little girl, I loved to look at nature. I loved to look at what was around me and try to figure out what something was or why it was happening the way it was. So, what I mean by that is like now, I'm not a little girl, but I still love to do that. I have been watching some of the plants I planted. I've been picking vegetables from some of my plants. And to do that, I've been watching the life cycle. I've been watching the difference between some of my plants and where they were sitting. Some got more light than others, so some have grown bushier than others. I've wondered why. I've been looking. I've been watching a hummingbird coming to some of my gladioluses, and my gladioluses happen to be a really bright orange color. I have figured out he loves that color. But I've also wondered, what else is he eating? Where else is he going? What can I do to have him come to my yard a little bit more often? I have been looking at interesting things in the backyard, tons of roly-polies with my grandsons. One of my grandsons is a master at finding snails, itty bitty teeny tiny snails. I should have brought a shell to show you. So when I am wondering, I'm also looking for answers. I'm asking those questions. I'm trying to find out why it happens, and I hope you are too. Today's book happens to be one that I think is really great. Um, it's actually based on the true story of some little boys who went looking in the woods. I think they were wandering, and they found a house that no one lived in. And so this book is about a lot of questions you might ask yourself if you came upon the same thing that they did. The book is called A House That Once Was by Julie Fogliano, and it's illustrated by Lane Smith. I love Lane Smith's work. A House That Once Was. A House That Once Was. Deep in the woods is a house, just a house, that once was, but now isn't, a home. There's so much bright color happening in these illustrations. At the top of a hill sits the house that is leaning, a house that once wasn't, but now it is peeling, a house that was once painted blue. Tiptoe creep up the path that is hiding, a path that once welcomed, a path that is winding, a path that is now covered in weeds. You know, I think it's interesting. I see the characters in the story, but I never learn who they are. But the house, even though that's not a person, seems to be a little bit of a character. At the front of the house that is waiting, there's a door that is not really open, but barely. A door that is closed, but not quite. A door that is stuck between coming and going. A door that was once painted white. Off to the side, there's a window that's watching, a window that once opened wide, a window that now has no window at all, a window that says, climb inside. Inside the house, it is silent but creaking. We're whispering mostly, but not really speaking. We whisper, though no one would mind if we didn't. The someone who once was is someone who isn't. The someone who once was is gone. Kind of interesting. Here's a picture of the someone who once was. But there's a mouse right where the face was. That's made his little hole for his home. I wonder why. Who was this someone who ate beans for dinner, who sat by this fire, who looked in this mirror? Who was the someone whose books have been waiting, whose bed is still made, whose pictures are fading? And how interesting, right here, Wayne Smith has used real photos. I wonder who that is. Who was the someone who walked down this hallway, who cooked in this kitchen, who napped in this chair? Who was the someone who left without packing? Someone who's gone, but is still everywhere. Was it a man with a big beard and glasses who would look out the window and dream of the sea? Or a woman who painted all day in the garden portraits of squirrels while sipping iced tea? That sounds lovely. Was there a cat who would sleep by the fire, or a girl who would twirl to her records and sing? I just barely see the cat. A boy who built planes and dreamt nightly of flying? A baby, a cowboy, a queen or a king? Why did they leave here, and where were they going? Did they run off and not say goodbye? Were they shipwrecked and now live on an island wearing coconut clothes with a pineapple tie? Or maybe they took off and headed to Paris, where they paint by the river and eat lots of cheese. Sounds like a nice little life. Or what if they're lost and they're wandering, lonely? Maybe they can't find their set of house keys. And maybe the house is still waiting there for them, waiting to hear their key turn in the door, waiting for voices to bounce down the hallway, waiting for someone to come sweep the floor. That sounds a little sad right there, thinking of the house waiting for them. Or maybe it loves to just sit and remember stories of someone who we'll never know, and maybe it likes it out there in the forest with the trees coming in where the roof used to go. So back through the window we climb as we wander back down the path that is tangled with thorns. Back to the house where our dinner is waiting. Back to a home that is cozy and warm. I noticed that there was a mention of eating beans for dinner, and I pointed to one of the children carrying the bean can, and I noticed that that's been included in this illustration, the bean can, with some of the flowers that I think came from the garden around the house. So I wonder about that. Deep in the woods is a house, just a house that once was, but now isn't a home. But you know what? It kind of is. There's trees living there. There were animals living there. And I notice here on the dedication page, it says, for the boys who found a house and wondered, and for Lane, who knew just what to do with wondering. I do enjoy that because I do enjoy the enjoyment. Boys and girls, I'm so glad to spend any time with you. While we can't be in the library, we can be together at home with Miss Lane, and I'm so glad that you joined me here today. I'll see you soon. Bye.